Hello everyone and welcome to today's Star Trek video. This time we're going to continue our little series on the themes of freedom and paranoia in Star Trek. In particular, we're going to examine the DS9 episodes Homefront and Paradise Lost. So let's go ahead and set up the scene. In the beginning of the episode Homefront, Captain Sisko and Odo, with Jake in tow, are called to Earth after it has learned that a changeling is responsible for the bombing of a diplomatic conference. Admiral Layton, Sisko's former commanding officer, places Benjamin in charge of Earth security. Here, Layton and Sisko present their plans to tighten security against changeling activity to the reluctant Federation president.
We have to take precautions.
Precautions may be advisable, but I will not disrupt the lives of the population. Despite what happened at Antwerp, I believe the changeling threat to be somewhat less serious than Starfleet does. Forgive me for saying so, Captain, but you sound a little paranoid.
Do I? I wish these security measures were not necessary, but the safety of Earth and the entire Federation depends on them.
You present a convincing argument, Captain. It seems I have no choice but to accept your proposals. It took centuries for Earth to evolve into the peaceful haven it is today. I would hate to be remembered as the Federation president who destroyed Paradise.
Initially, the new security measures, such as blood screenings, are primarily focused on Starfleet personnel and their families. However, Sisko's dad, Joseph, is not thrilled with this turn of events.
All family members of Starfleet personnel are required to submit to blood screenings. No exceptions.
That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard of. Do you believe that?
I signed the orders myself.
Now, why would you go and do a stupid thing like that?
Look, Dad.
I don't want to hear it.
Listen to me. You have got to take the test.
Why should I? You may want to test everyone, but that doesn't mean we all have to cooperate. I didn't take an oath to Starfleet. Neither did Jake or your sister or anyone in your family. We have rights, Ben, including the right to be as stubborn or thick-headed as we want.
Even with the tighter security, the changelings are still operating on Earth. Then, without warning, the entire planet loses power. Starfleet suspects this is a prelude to a Dominion invasion, and Layton, Sisko, and Odo go back to the President to request emergency powers to deal with this crisis.
We've been preparing for something like this for a long time. We have stockpiles of phaser rifles, personal force fields, photon grenades, enough to equip an entire army. I can start getting men on the streets immediately.
What you're asking me to do is declare martial law.
Give us the authority we need, Mr. President, and we will take care of the rest.
By the beginning of the next episode, Paradise Lost, Earth's power has been restored, and there has been no sign of a Dominion invasion. However, armed Starfleet officers remain on station all around the planet.
Are you sure reopening the restaurant is a good idea?
Besides, at my age, I don't have time to waste sitting at home being bored.
You know, there's hardly anyone on the streets. You're not gonna have any customers.
Oh, I've got plenty of customers. Just look outside.
With the power outage and threat of Dominion attack, Joseph changes his former position and submits to a blood test. However, Benjamin is starting to think something doesn't add up.
When I didn't want to be tested, you made it an issue. Now that I'm cooperating, you're still not satisfied.
It's not you, Dad.
Then what is it?
I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just being paranoid.
After conducting their own investigations, Sisko and Odo uncover clues that seem to indicate that the power outage was orchestrated, not by changelings, but rather by Admiral Layton and other high-ranking Starfleet officials, and they bring their concerns to the President.
Not to mention effective. Think about it. The power grid fails, and the next thing you know, Starfleet security officers are on the streets of every city, armed with phaser rifles, blood-testing citizens at random.
Your story has a certain logic to it, gentlemen, but
With those troops in place, Admiral Layton controls Earth. And he's not going to give up that control until he's convinced that he has ended the Dominion threat.
right now the public overwhelmingly supports the increased security. If I try to remove those troops over Layton's objection, I'll have a planet-wide riot on my hands.
The President promises to deal with Layton if Sisko can provide evidence of his plot. However, Layton confronts Sisko at his father's restaurant.
What you're trying to do is to seize control of Earth and place it under military rule.
If that's what it takes to stop the Dominion.
So you're willing to destroy Paradise in order to save it?
And now more than ever, I need you to respect my authority.
And I cannot do that. Not this time.
Since Sisko won't cooperate with Layton's planned coup, the Admiral orders him back to DS9. However, the captain doesn't back down quite so easily, and he ultimately ends up in the brig when he is framed for being a changeling.
After all, I don't get much time to spend on Earth. And it is so pleasant here, with a Starfleet officer on every corner. Paradise has never seemed so well armed. I assume you'll be explaining to the public why it's necessary for Starfleet to seize control of Earth.
Temporarily, of course.
It's always just temporary, isn't it? Just until the emergency is over. Fortunately, Odo springs Sisko from confinement. Also, after a brief battle with a starship sent by Layton, the Defiant arrives from DS9 with one of Layton's accomplices, and the coup is prevented. Life on Earth is returning to normal, but the changelings are still out there.
Am I the only one who's worried that there are still changelings here on Earth?
Worried? I'm scared to death. But I'll be damned if I'm going to let them change the way I live my life. Well, what are you waiting for? Come in, have a seat. Today I'm recommending the pasta boudin. It's got a bit of a kick, but it will make you smile.
Authorities exaggerating a public threat in order to get the population to support stricter safety measures, such as compulsory medical tests. It's a good thing we don't have to worry about that, right? Thank you for joining me for this video, and I hope you have a blessed day.